and talk. This is our first episode ever recording. Today we'll have a multitude of subjects. It'll be very interesting. My name's Tay, and I'm here with Nin,
Hi.
my brother. Hey Nin, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, if you're wondering about the Planet of the Apes giveaway, you have to listen to the end of the podcast for more information. Anyway, first I thought we'd start out by introducing ourselves. I'm Taylor. I'm a big movie fan. I don't consider myself a movie critic, but I definitely consider myself a high-end fan. I don't want to sound pretentious, but then how about you?
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty high-end, too. I like all different kinds of movies, just like Tay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in this introduction.
Exactly. Yeah, so if you're wondering if we have any credibility, as of right now, I've seen 887 movies.
Whoa, dude.
No. Work on your acting. Anyway, how many movies have you seen then?
I've seen about 500.
500? Okay, that's pretty good.
I don't have as much free time as you.
Okay. Anyway, so we also thought it would be kind of fun if we each shared a couple of our favorites from each genre. That way you can know if we have if our opinions are valid. So I am a fan of almost every genre, although I'm not a big horror fan. I don't like many horror movies. But almost any other genre I like. What about you, Nin?
Same here.
Really? So you're not a big fan of horror either?
Oh, no, I like horror.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were a
Tay
bigger...
always chickens out during horror movies. He got scared. He didn't want to watch Blair Witch.
Okay, anyway.
But
Anyway, alright, how about since we're talking about horror, I'll go first. My favorite horror movie is The Shining by Kubrick. I think it's the most well-made movie because I think it's a stark contrast to your average horror movie because your average horror movie is really low quality and it's very cliched. And so that's why I like The Shining. In my mind, that one's the best horror there is. What about you, Nin?
Yeah, Shining's good, but I'd say my all-time favorite horror film is Jaws.
Jaws.
For me, you can't beat that one.
Yeah, I agree that Jaws is one of the best movies, but as far as pure horror, I'd say The Shining is creepier or scarier. Jaws to me is more of an adventure film, but I agree it's one of the best.
Yeah, you wouldn't show The Shining to a kid.
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd show Jaws to a kid.
Well,
that'd be funny.
I don't know. We may have different parenting styles.
Okay, little Timmy, Jaws time.
Yeah, I don't know. I might wait a while. But anyway, what about action? What's one of your favorite action movies, then?
My favorite action movie, that would be The Matrix. And although it's not just action, it does have my all-time favorite action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I choose that one.
I agree with you. That's also my favorite. But since you said The Matrix, I'll mention my second favorite action movie is Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Do.
Yes. I love the action scenes in that one. Cameron, I mean, I wasn't able to watch it in theaters, but I imagine those scenes would have been mind blowing when they came out.
Yeah.
Just Arnold is awesome in it. All the action scenes are just really cool. You just can't get better than the action scenes in that one. And the best part is they're all real. If you see a helicopter flying under the highway, remember that scene?
Yeah.
You know they actually flew a helicopter under the highway. And I think that's what makes it great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I'm a big action fan, but I definitely don't confine myself to only action movies. I try not to fit the stereotype that guys only like action movies. I think it's really stupid, and it brings you down. You have to see all the best types of movies. So that'll bring us to romance, which is not a genre that your average 20-year-old male is a big fan of. But I've seen a few good romance movies in my time. And my favorite one is by Richard Linklater. He's a kind of an indie director, but He has somewhat of a following. He actually has a new movie coming out, Boyhood, which I'm really excited to see. But anyway, the movie's called Before Sunrise, and it's about two people who meet on a train in Vienna, I think it is. And they just kind of like each other. Basically the whole movie is they're just talking, and the dialogue is brilliant. That's kind of why I liked it a lot, and the emotion feels real. Like, I think I may be wrong on this, but the characters in the movie, the actors, Ethan Hawke and Judy Delpy, they may have actually written some of their own dialogue, and it kind of shows through because it looks like they mean what they're saying. And I don't know, that one was just really stood out as the best romance movie in my mind.
Cool. I'll have to check that one out. I haven't seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another one that Tay hasn't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly give him grief. Gone with the Wind. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's the 4-hour runtime is what keeps bothering me.
Yeah.
It's hard to find 4 hours that you're willing to admit.
Yeah, but definitely worth it. It's really classic. And it actually has my all-time favorite female performance.
Yeah?
Usually females don't give too great of a performance, but...
Well,
Vivian
I wouldn't
Leigh
say that.
is
I
great.
would say usually females are not given big roles. But
Yeah,
if you
that's
give them a big role, they sometimes they make a great performance.
But Gone with the Wind is a good example.
So you'd say that's one of the best of all time female performances?
I'd say best of all time.
Really? Yeah, I definitely will have to check that one out. I still haven't seen it yet. Kind of embarrassing. Like I said, I'm not a film critic. I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
All right, what about drama? What's one of your favorite of all time dramas, then?
Well, I mean, drama is really broad.
Yeah, it's a broad topic.
A lot of movies are drama, but I'd like to say one of my favorite dramas,
Mm-hmm.
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah,
And,
There Will Be Blood, huh?
When I think about it, I wouldn't say it's like a drama, but I guess it is.
No, it's pure drama. It's all drama in my
Yeah.
mind, but
Yeah. It's one that you just kind of have to see. It's hard to talk about. But
yeah, you can spoil it, but basically it features Daniel Day-Lewis, in my mind, one of the best living actors right now. He's so... Basically, his method acting is second to none. You cannot match his method acting skill.
Yeah.
And he won Best Actor for that one. I definitely agree with you. That's one of the best dramas.
What about you, Tay?
Mine is a little bit more uplifting than There Will Be Blood. You've probably heard of it, Shawshank Redemption.
I've never heard of it.
No, yeah.
Just kidding.
It's classic. It's a modern classic, actually.
Yeah.
When it came out, it actually flopped in the theaters, but since then it's become widely recognized as, the classic it is. And it tells the story of a guy who goes to prison. He's sentenced to prison for murdering his wife, I believe it is.
Yeah, but
he actually didn't do it, I don't think.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. Is it?
I don't think it's a spoiler. I think you learned that in the first couple minutes. Oh yeah, by the way, we try to avoid all spoilers. So, yeah, if we're about to do a spoiler, we'll try to alert you so you can skip it if you want to. But we try to avoid them at all times. But anyway, back to Shawshank. Morgan Freeman gives one of the greatest narrations I've ever heard in that movie.
Once upon a time,
No.
I was in jail.
No. It's nothing like that. It's good. And I guarantee you, if you watch Shawshank, you will feel uplifted.
Yeah.
You'll have hope in life. You'll have a great
You'll
time.
want to go to prison. That's how good it is.
Yeah, I have a friend who doesn't even like movies, and he thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, those are our favorite dramas. They're not our definitive favorites, but they're some of our favorites. And then one more category we thought might be fun is foreign films. I think oftentimes in America we forget that foreign films, we write them off. We say, oh, subtitles, I can't read those. This is stupid. This is a foreign movie. This doesn't even count as a real movie. But foreign movies are just as valid as American movies. And so, what's one of your favorite foreign movies then?
Well, I have to admit I haven't seen that many, but there's this guy called Hayao Miyazaki, and he makes anime movies.
Yep.
And one I saw as a young child, I think we got it from Grandma.
I believe it was our aunt.
Oh, our aunt? Okay.
Yeah.
It's called Castle in the Sky.
Yeah.
It's just a very simple, enchanting tale. I've just always loved it.
Did you read that off the back cover?
Yeah. There was an Ebert quote on the front cover.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I like that pick, and that is one of my faves, but I gotta say, I think Miyazaki has, even in his own directing, he's directed a few better ones than that.
Yeah, well, that's just my personal fave.
Yeah, I believe it. You're a little clouded by nostalgia.
Oh, true.
That's true.
But it is the best.
Anyway, all right. So my favorite foreign film is I actually don't even know what language it was in, but I absolutely loved it. It was called The Lives of Others. It was the acting was the best part of it in my mind. It was about a really oppressive government that listened to everyone's conversations over the phone and tried to figure out who was against the government. And the main character, is one of these government agents, and he's listening to everybody's conversations, but he starts to get enthralled in their lives, and he starts to get attached to them, and he starts worrying about them, and lots of drama and interesting things happen off that, and I think it was probably the best foreign film I've seen. Yeah, so I definitely would recommend that one. But alright, so that concludes our introductions. So I hope you know a little bit more about us. We're gonna move on to a new thing. We really felt like it would be smart to define how you can review a movie or how you can talk about it and know exactly what you're talking about. Like, your average Joe on the street may see the new Transformers and tell you, "Hey, it was awesome, man." You know what I mean? It was so awesome. But you don't know if this guy knows anything about movies. So we don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to tell you what I think you have to have done in order to have not a valid opinion, because opinions can't
just
be
authoritative.
More of an opinion that people could take seriously. So point number one I had on this was you have to see old and new movies. You know what I mean?
Yep. Definitely.
Don't you agree? Because if you only watch movies that are made in the last 10 years, all those movies, half the stuff in them is ripped off from old movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because if you think about it, anyone trying to make a movie now is just
they're thinking about
everything that's came out in the past and how they're being inspired by it.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to have a completely original movie now.
You know what that actually reminds me of is when I saw Drive from 2011 with Ryan Gosling, and I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. And then the funny thing is, later I watched Taxi Driver with De Niro by Scorsese. And the funny thing is, I kept thinking in my mind, wow, this is a lot like Drive. And then I was like, wait a minute, am I an idiot? Taxi Driver came out far before Drive did. And so that kind of situation can happen a lot of the times if you don't think about it in terms of the classics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another thing is you have to see the classics. Like, how can you know what a good film is if you haven't seen the consistently mentioned classics? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, a good movie to see is Casablanca.
Casablanca, yeah, exactly. That one is classic. Humphrey Bogart.
It's like the definition of a classic.
It's got classic
Humphrey
lines,
Bogart,
classic
Bergman.
scenes.
Yep. And anything good about a movie is in there. And just because it's black and white, that doesn't mean it's dumb.
Yeah, black and white can add to the style. I mean, look at Schindler's List. That's in black and white, and that's a new movie, and it adds to it. And then another thing is, this might be kind of unexpected, is in my mind, you have to see bad movies.
What? Why?
And then you need to work on your acting.
I'm going to get an Oscar for this podcast.
No, you won't. But anyway, I think you have to see bad movies because, just like with classics, how can you know what's good unless you see what's bad?
Yeah, basically, when you're a kid, you just watch like a bunch of kid movies.
Yeah, you watch anything, pretty much. And so you kind of build your knowledge base. But you have to watch, if you don't watch an okay movie every once in a while, a pretty good movie, an average movie, and then how are you going to know what's the best? You'll start recognizing things that are in average movies. You know, like cliches and scenes that have been done before, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's true. And so yeah, I want to talk about our scale that we use. Whenever we do a review, we like to do a 1 to 10 scale. And usually, when you think of a 1 to 10 scale, your average person may say 8 was good, 9 I really liked it, 10 was like, it was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But when we do a 1 to 10 scale, we usually do 5 was completely average and meh. We didn't like it that much. We didn't absolutely hate it, but we just thought it was meh.
Yeah.
6 is kind of okay. Had some redeeming qualities. 7 is
good.
Is good, yeah. If we give a movie a 7, that doesn't mean we thought it was average. It means we thought it was good. You know what I mean? And
that's a compliment to give it a 7.
Yeah, a 7 is a compliment. It's not a bad rating per se.
Well, unless it's like a all-time classic movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
It's kind of relative, but
most of the time. How would you describe an 8 then on our scale?
Well, pretty much with every number, I kind of just have one word that goes with that number. Yeah. And for 8, mine is great.
Great, I agree with that. Yeah, I'd say an 8 is great, and
not just because it rhymes. It's just a step above good. Like, yeah, it just sticks with you. Or
yeah, it can have
really moves you.
An 8 could even be a classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So an 8 really indicates a lot of quality on our scale, and then a 9 is just, for me, a 9 is another level. That's one of, it might land in the top 100 or 50 of all time if I gave it a 9.
For me, I'd say 9 is amazing.
Amazing,
and
yeah.
For me, like, everything kind of has to be working for a 9.
Certain scenes leave you in awe or disbelief. The acting could be on another level.
Technical aspects are
mind blowing. And then for 10, I think a 10 out of 10 should be held for the, like, maybe even your top 10 only.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
a lot of people are lenient with 10s. They'll just give anything a 10.
I don't like it when people do, oh, I didn't like it so it's a 1, or I loved it so it's a 10. To me, I save my 10s for my all-time favorites. Yep. And I do not take 10s lately. But anyway.
Jay gets serious about his 10s.
Yeah, I get really serious. And okay, another thing I wanted to introduce is, like, me and then like to talk in ranges, because sometimes you can't just say, oh, it was a 7 or oh, it was an 8. Sometimes there's in-betweens. So I like to do, let's say it was a 7 to 8 range. It was good, but not yet great. And it's different than a 7.5, because a 7 to 8 range means that you could give it a 7 or you could give it an 8. That's where we think you may possibly give it.
Yeah, that usually comes in when your personal enjoyment of the movie is a big factor.
Yeah, like
maybe you're a huge anime fan, so you liked it more than most people.
Yeah.
If you watch an anime movie.
Yeah, so then for you, the 7 to 8 range would mean you likely would give it an 8.
Yeah, you'd give it an 8, but some people might give it a 7, some 8. So
yeah, exactly.
Range is helpful for that kind of situation.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm really waffling, I'll just give it a range because I just can't decide. But yeah. So yeah, that hopefully you understand how we think you should review movies and talk about them. Another thing I wanted to talk about was our third point, or what are the important elements of a good movie? What would you say they are, then?
Well, for me, acting is really important.
Acting, yes. That's essential.
Yeah. All good movies to me have good acting. Like, if it's so distracting if there's bad acting.
Yeah, bad acting can ruin a movie faster than anything in my mind. Don't you think?
Yeah. It's not very often that there's just like bad acting though.
Yeah, that's true. Usually you get average acting.
Yeah. What's another aspect?
The technical aspects are something I don't look at them like as a definitive thing. Like, technical isn't huge in my mind, but like with Kubrick or other directors, sometimes the technical aspects can bring it to another level. Like,
yeah, especially for Kubrick.
When you see a shot that it never cuts for like a minute, 2 minutes, constantly, you know the actors acted the entire scene flawlessly and they never had to stop filming. To me, that is really amazing. Or a beautiful shot of some landscapes like Lord of the Rings, the shots of all the mountains in New Zealand or whatever.
And also, editing is really important. Like,
yeah,
for a fight scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Changing cuts every 2 seconds, you can't even.
Or if or if punches look really fake. Yeah, that can be important. One of the big ones, obviously, is story. You can't have a movie without a story unless you're like David Lynch or something. But yeah, story is important. And then I think this goes along with acting, but your characters are key.
Yeah, you can't have a story without characters. You can't have characters without a story.
Exactly. They go hand in hand. And then I had a kind of a offshoot of this debate is what's the most important aspects? And I broke it down into characters, story, or technical. Which one's the most important?
Well, man, it's tough, but I'd say if I have to choose, technical would be the least important.
The least important, yeah, in my mind. Although important, I think if you have average technical stuff and your other stuff is really high, you could still have a classic film.
Yeah. But like when you think back on a really good movie, it's not gonna be like, oh man, that had some good editing. Like, well, maybe very few times.
Yeah, you're never gonna say, oh, did you see that editing? Or did you hear that sound design?
Yeah.
That's not the first thing that's gonna come to mind. So I think we both agree that's the least important aspect. But I think maybe we differ in what's more important between characters and story.
Yeah.
I think characters are the most important.
And I think story is the most important.
All right,
let's go.
You can start. Why do you think story is the most important?
Well, okay. Basically, every story has the same framework, exposition at the start, yada yada, rising action.
Yeah, they do hit a lot of the same beats.
You can definitely know when a movie is bad when it just follows the cliche generic outline.
Yeah.
When a movie really goes outside of that and makes you engage the entire movie and the story just draws you in, that's when I think a movie is at its best.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. But here, let me tell you why I think characters are the most important. I kind of thought of this example. Think of two movies. Which one would you rather see? Or, okay, actually not this. I was thinking about, you could have a great movie if there was a bad storyline, but the characters were still awesome.
Yeah.
But a movie, you can't have a good movie if the storyline is good, but the characters are terrible. Because think about it.
Well,
the characters are what carry the story. So without characters, there is no story.
Well, there are some good movies that have sucky characters but have good stories.
Like which ones?
Like Old Boy.
What? That doesn't have sucky characters.
Well, I mean, the characters
are really interesting in that one. That's a bad example. Give me another one, otherwise you can't convince me.
What was it again? Good story, bad characters?
Yeah, good story, bad characters.
I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. This wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay, if you think of one, you can tell me. But my main point is that the characters, and I think acting flows off characters.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if your characters are bad, I think it's nearly impossible to have a good movie.
Yeah, true.
So, do you concede defeat on that point?
Well, think about this. Your characters can be great and all, but...
Yeah.
I mean, story is like the bare bones necessity of a movie. You need the story. Like, characters just being there.
Yeah, well...
It's not interesting. If they're not challenged by something that happens in a story, it's not going to be interesting.
Well, what I'm saying is kind of like the story is secondary. The story isn't that mind-blowing. Okay, I know the story is pretty good in this one, but I'm going to mention it. Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
It's all about the characters in that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The characters are so great that it gives it a really high... It boosts the movie up. The story is average.
It's good, but
it's pretty good. Nothing super good in it. But it's the characters you remember, the dialogue, the characters, what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not really the story. And there are movies with great stories like Inception, but they still have good characters.
Yeah. Well, Inception, it's funny you bring that up because I was thinking the story is what makes the characters in Inception interesting, Yeah. Because Cobb in that movie, he's just kind of like a normal guy who has one particular skill, in doing his job.
His wife, though.
And he loves his wife, But I mean, he's not that interesting. But
I guess you're right.
The story in that one propels
that one.
The interesting.
You're right. I think that one definitely is kind of an antithesis to Pulp Fiction. It's all about the story in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they're both important, but I'm gonna stick with characters.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stick to my guns.
You're gonna stick with story. Okay. Well, folks, if you're listening right now, you can comment and tell us which one you think is most important.
I think most people will agree with me. Tay's gone off the deep end a little with this one. I mean, you have to have a story.
Alright, no way. Alright, so now that we're kind of done with that, I think we should move on to actually doing some reviews and some recommendations and stuff.
Now that you trust our opinion.
Yeah, now that you know we're completely valid and the best critics on the planet, we can move on and let's recommend some movies to see in theaters. So then, which one would you recommend to see first?
Well, one of the stunners of the year, I would say, was X-Men, the new X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I liked that one.
It's just great. I mean,
I wouldn't say great. I wouldn't say great.
Well, okay, but
would you say it's the best X-Men movie?
Yeah. It's hard to beat X-Men 3, but...
Oh.
No, just kidding. My fave X-Men, I like the first two. Probably like everybody else.
Okay, I need to see the other one. What's the prequel again?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No. For
X-Men First Class.
First Class. I need to see First Class again to see if I liked this new one better than that, but as far as the old ones, I'd say it's definitely the best of the old ones, but I still gave it a 7.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
I'd say it was a good movie. I didn't think it was mind-blowing, honestly, but yeah. So if you still haven't seen that one, it's been out for a while. If you haven't seen it, you should see that one. Another one I really want to stress. This one it's kind of original. It's based on a manga or whatever. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Manga. Okay, but anyway, it's Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, who I'm a fan of. Emily Blunt, yeah. I'm a fan of Tom Cruise. I really like this one. One day, it was getting good reviews. All my favorite critics were saying I should go see it. So one day I was like, let's go see this one today. So we just randomly went to it. And I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised. I thought it was really cool. It's kind of a Groundhog Day movie. It's the main character repeats a single day over and over. But that's where the similarities to Groundhog Day end. It takes place in the future. There's some bad guys who are kind of robot-like.
Yeah.
The bad guys are maybe a little generic, but
it's not really about the bad guys.
Yeah, it's not about the bad guys. It's about Tom Cruise's character. He has to repeat each day and get better at fighting a war against these robots and stuff. And
then he meets Emily Blunt's character.
And
she realizes that she had his power.
She had his power at one time, so she's like training him and stuff, and
yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's just cool.
Everything about it is fun.
Good humor.
Yeah. That was the surprising aspect. It was really funny. It's not a comedy, but it was funny. And another thing I want to mention is Tom Cruise. How he did all his own stunts in it.
Yeah, just like all his movies.
Yeah, I really admire Tom Cruise's the fact that he does his own stunts.
There's a lot of Tom Cruise haters. I kind of like him.
I'm a fan of Tom Cruise. I'd say he's a really good actor.
He's a pretty good actor.
He's really good, man. Anyway.
Okay.
That's a debate for another day. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, I really would recommend you see it. If you don't want to see it in theaters, get it as soon as it comes out on rental. Yeah. You got to go see that one. And so let's kind of go to our big one this week. We just saw it earlier today, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. What do you think?
Great.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't know, it was hard to describe it.
Yeah.
It was big. It was kind of...
Yeah, it felt relevant. It had some good themes in there, but it wasn't too obvious.
It wasn't a globe spanning. It wasn't globe spanning, although the virus was. It wasn't globe spanning, but it takes place in two distinct things. There's some humans left that have survived from the virus, and there are the apes who are now smart and they've kind of built their own colony. And basically there's a conflict.
Yeah.
As with every great story, there's some conflict, and some humans come and they're basically they. This isn't too much of a spoiler. They want some power for their. There's a power plant near the apes, and they want to turn the power plant on, but of course
the two different species don't get along.
Yeah, they don't get along.
There's some characters you like, some you don't.
Yeah, they've got the typical guy that you don't like.
Yeah.
They've got the heroes, but it's not a negative. It's really
it's not too generic.
It's not generic. Yeah, the coolest part is the apes are now like fully realized characters. Like from the first one, now they've developed more. They all have their own personalities. They all talk to each other. They use sign language to talk to each other. It's really cool, and the effects are pretty good.
Yep, mind-blowing, actually.
You thought the effects were mind-blowing?
Especially, like, when the camera zooms in, you can see all the detail.
I think they actually spent more time on that scene, like, the zoom-in scene.
When it zooms away, it's a bit CGI-ish. Like,
yeah, like, you can always tell that they're not real apes, but, I mean, the effects are good.
If it's an up-close shot and you're looking at the fur of an ape, you know, it looks next to real. Like,
it looks pretty close. And the best thing is the faces, the expressions that the main character ape makes.
With the mocap.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really cool, actually. You know, the main actor who plays Caesar, the main ape, is Andy Serkis, who does Gollum.
Yeah.
And as we know, Gollum is one of the greatest, like, CG characters of all time. And Caesar is now probably one of the best as well.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't say Gollum level.
No, he doesn't surpass Gollum in my mind.
But he's really awesome.
He's not, like, over the top. He's, like, he's wise yet young. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
I don't know.
He's still learning in the movie.
Yeah, he's still learning.
He has things to learn.
Yeah, but he's the leader of the ape group.
He's called Caesar for a reason.
Good
kind of.
Yeah, in a way, it doesn't totally apply.
Not really.
Yeah. But, so overall, I really liked it. It was good. I didn't think it was nearing, like, a classic territory or anything, but...
No. I mean, I don't think any Apes movie could ever surpass the original. Just because that one was so amazing at the time. But, I mean, as far as a summer blockbuster, you can't really get much better.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a blockbuster, like... maybe I'm not going to say that. That's kind of a spoiler, but... There are some blockbuster type beats in it, but also there are moments that are non-blockbuster-esque. There's character development. I think two of the best scenes are where Caesar and the character played by Gary Oldman, when they're looking to their past. Remember, Oldman had the iPad, and Caesar had the video recorder, and the emotion in those scenes. I actually almost teared up. I didn't cry. I almost teared up, but it was pretty sad, actually.
And I thought it was pretty impressive how... You know, the first act of the movie, there wasn't that much action. I mean, it opens up with kind of an action scene, but the rest of it doesn't start until later.
That scene was really cool.
Yeah. But it feels really held back. Like, it's not just in-your-face explosions.
Yeah, only till the end is when there's the real big action scenes.
Yep. It sets it up good, you know.
Yeah, another thing I want to mention is one of the apes named Koba is one, like, I'd say he's the second most important ape character.
Yeah.
He is just ruthless. He's so cool and crazy. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to know. Like, between the humans and the apes, who do you root for?
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of the movie. Yeah, because there's, during the course of the movie, is it a spoiler to say there's a war? I mean,
no, okay, yeah. There's
a war.
There's going to be a conflict between humans and apes in this movie. That's pretty obvious.
During the war, you really don't know who to cheer for, because there's people you like on the ape side. Well, not people. Apes you like on the ape side.
Yeah, there's apes
and people you like on the people side. So I didn't find myself...
But there's also bad humans and bad apes. So it's like, I was flip-flopping. Who do I cheer for? I don't know. All I knew was that I was cheering for Caesar.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And against Koba. But he's a great villain. I mean, he's kind of Joker-esque almost.
Yeah, he was kind of sadistic and crazy.
Yeah.
It was cool.
He's
my new favorite CG villain.
Favorite CG villain?
Yeah.
We should do an entire podcast on that.
There may not be enough content for that.
It'll be a 2-minute long.
Well, he was better than Smog.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's a random comparison.
Yeah, that is random, but...
They're both good.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else you want to say?
Probably just make sure you see Rise of the Planet of
Oh
the Apes.
yeah, I really did want to. I did want to stress that you probably should see Rise of the Planet of the Apes before you see this one.
Yeah.
I think you may be a little. You won't be confused, but because they have at the start they kind of had like a 30-second recap.
Yeah.
But it'd be like you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't know the history of it, because like all the ape characters have their history built in that one. So my recommendation would be see Rise before you see this one.
And it's also good because I think this one's far better. So if you watch Rise, then this one, it'll be like it won't be disappointing. It'll be impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you watch Rise, and that's a 7 to 8 range.
Good
Definitely
movie.
leaning towards 7 in my mind, but this one is more of a 7 to 8 range, leaning towards 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably give it an 8, but I'd probably give it about an 8. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say 8 too.
Yeah. If I had to settle like down to the 0.1 or whatever, I'd probably say 7.7.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all just hearsay. In another month, I could have a different rating. I don't think giving that accurate of a rating has a point, but
no.
Yeah, 7 to 8 range for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing I want to stress is if you haven't, I don't want to say don't watch the new ones, but how can you not watch the classic original, the one from 1968?
Yeah.
That one is really great.
Actually, that would be kind of interesting if you watched Rise and then Dawn and you haven't seen the original.
Oh, that'd be so strange, but
that'd be weird. I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. No, I can't stress enough that the old one is really a classic. And if you don't know the surprise ending to that one,
you live under a rock.
Yeah, you live under a rock. Number one, and number two, watch it ASAP before someone spoils it.
Yeah,
because that has an all-time best twist ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I just can't even imagine how much you'd be reeling if you didn't know that. Did you know that one when you saw it then?
Oh, I watched it when I was so young. I probably didn't even understand it.
Yeah. I think I watched it knowing the end. Actually, maybe not. Did I? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but all I remember is that I loved it. So yeah. Anyway, they were having a promotion on the newest or the oldest Planet of the Apes on Blu-ray. So we picked up a couple of copies of it, and that's why we're doing the giveaway. We're giving a brand new copy of the 1968 Planet of the Apes movie. So hopefully, if you haven't seen it and you want to see this on Blu-ray, you got to enter our contest.
Definitely. It's
open to anybody who has at least 100 followers on Twitter.
Because the point of this is to spread the
word.
Show,
yeah,
so we can
we're not gonna try and trick you. We want to get more followers and people listening to the podcast. So the reason is if you have 100 followers, you can the first person that I tweeted out a link that said retweet this to enter to win the Blu-ray. So if you retweet that, and then if you tweet the first person to tweet mentioning @TayaNinTalk, that person will win the Blu-ray. All you have to do is just send us a message with your address. If you're the first person, we'll contact you, and we'll mail you the Blu-ray, brand new Blu-ray, for free. So that's pretty cool. And we might do more giveaways in the future. We have some DVDs, which are kind of lame. We have DVDs that we upgraded to Blu-ray that we would give away, like such as Godfather we have, and some other ones. Yeah. So we'll do more giveaways in the future if it's successful. Otherwise, we may not do it. But this is our one big opening giveaway. So we really hope you tweet mentioning us and you retweet that tweet I had on Twitter. That's a tongue twister.
Retweet that tweet on Twitter?
Yeah. And then also I made a Facebook page too. So if you want to like us on Facebook, if you don't really use Twitter that much, I guess if you like us on Facebook and you mention us on Facebook, you can also be eligible, I guess. Maybe, don't you think?
Yeah, I'd say that counts.
Just in case you don't use Twitter. So, yeah. I guess those were the subjects we had. I think, should we wrap it up, maybe?
I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, alright guys. I hope you had a fun time listening to us. Look to the future for more episodes. We're going to have various topics and reviews and...
Yeah, we might just watch a movie and maybe we'll just want to talk about it.
Maybe we'll mention it a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you really want us to talk about a specific movie or you have an idea for a talking point, send it to us. We'll think about it. We'll talk about it. We've got a big list we're building of different topics we want to talk about. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.